All right, we're going to talk about measurement today. You'll need to go to the class website, and this lesson is for all the classes. So go to whichever one you are. I'm going to go into Text 6, Google folder, measurement, and I'm going to be talking through this lesson. Okay. So reading a ruler to a 1/16 of an inch. If you can just listen to this, you don't need to actually take notes. You can just reference the slide. If it helps you to take notes, do so. Definitely make sure you pause, rewind, look back through something as many times as you need to. So step one on reading the ruler is locate 0. So let's look at a few different rulers here. This is a pretty worn out ruler, but on that one, 0 is just my edge because there's nothing telling me otherwise. Okay, on this one, on this ruler, I do have a 0 that is pushed in a little bit. Okay, the edge of my ruler is not 0 on this one. It's actually right there. So I can tell the difference because it's indicated otherwise. So that's not my 0. This one, 0 is the edge of the ruler. There's not a line telling me otherwise, so I assume that 0 is the edge. Okay, and then just always make sure you're in standard measurement. You're not in metric or something weird. These rulers, there's a bunch of these floating around. They are good rulers if you are using the right side of them, but they have several different scales. These are for drafting and architecture, so some of these scales you'll never use. If you do have one of these rulers or you're using one of them, make sure you're using the side that says architect. Okay, that's the standard measurement. And on that one, I can see that my 0 is pushed in a little bit. It's not the edge of the ruler. There's a few of these floating around that say engineer. That is metric and that will not work. So if you have one of these 6-sided rulers, make sure you have one that at least says architect on it or it won't work. Okay. So step one, like I said, is just kind of identifying your ruler and where 0 is. Okay. Should say step 2, it says step 1. Count the marks in an inch. Count how many marks there are in 1 inch. So let's look at a couple different examples. First one, I'm going to count the spaces, not the marks. It's a little easier and a little less confusing. So, and I know I'm zoomed way in here, but I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so this ruler measures in 16ths, and actually it tells me that, but usually they don't. Okay, if you have a weird number, you did something wrong. Should be basically always going to be 16, sometimes 32, sometimes 8, and seldom would it be in fourths, but I guess that would be possible. So this one is in 16ths. If there's 10 spaces in between an inch, you're using a metric ruler, and you need to find another ruler. Okay, this one, if I were to count those, I'm not going to do it again, but there are 16, and it does actually tell me also. This ruler, a lot of the numbers are worn off, but this one is in 8ths. You can see that marks are a little further apart. There's 8 spaces in between inches. I can see them all here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this ruler measures in 8ths. Okay, so that's step 2. Just identify what unit of measurement you're using, what your denominator is. Okay, So if there's 16 spaces, you're in 16ths, and you should go ahead and write that down. If there's 8 spaces, you're in 8ths, and you should go ahead and write that number down as your denominator, the bottom part of your fraction. Okay, next step, count over the number of marks you are measuring to. So on this ruler, from the 1, I'm over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 marks. 6 marks. Over from the 1. The 1 itself, the last full number is 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm over 6 ticks past the largest whole number, largest full inch. So I put that number on top. That's the top number in my fraction, the numerator. Okay, so I'm 1 and 6/16. That's how I would read that number. Okay, and then my next step, most of you can probably guess, is to reduce the fraction. So find the biggest number that goes into 6 and 16. It's going to be 2. I bring the whole number straight down. I don't mess with it. And then I divide 6 by 2 and get 3. I divide 16 by 2 and get 8. So my measurement is 1 and 3/8 on this ruler. 1 and 3/8. It was 1 and 6/16, and I reduced that to 1 and 3/8. Okay, so let's do a practice problem. There's not a 0 on this ruler, so I don't need to find my 0. So the next step is to figure out what unit I'm in, what this ruler is measuring in. And in between inches, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 spaces. So I'm measuring in 16ths. Okay, this ruler is in 16ths. From the 10, I'm over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tick marks. So my fraction would be 6/16, and the biggest full inch is 10. So I'm 10 and 6/16, and that would reduce down to 10 and 3/8 after I divide. Okay.